Brianna Battle says, hey, coach, I think I've met the man God has for me. How can I know for sure? I believe my last relationship was the counterfeit. Well, the best way to make sure you're not a counterfeit is to make sure you're legit from it, to make sure that you've grown from it, right? To make sure that that person in the past is no longer effect on you. That's what makes you a counterpart for that counterpart, right? And so signs that you met the man of God. First off, it has been confirmed by God. Now, it's tricky because I can't necessarily say how God does in every situation, but you can't think. Thinking is dangerous. Knowing is where it's at, right? You can't think that you met the man of God. So if you in the thinking phase, you got to take your time. If you think that he's the man of God, then you got to take your time because you don't want to think. There's a lot of people that I've counseled that thought that that man was the one, that thought that the wife was the one, and then the final that thought became a thought, and that thought became a person people that doesn't want that. And now you in distraught because you thought. Right? You got to know so you can flow. See, I know my wife's for me because we flow. It don't matter what the argument may be, but we flow because we know. You have to know because confirmation keeps the grip firm. It keeps the grip firm. So it doesn't matter what argument we get in. It doesn't matter what goes on in my life. I know that God has confirmed her as mine. Because if you get to a place in the beginning where you begin to think that you met the one and then you married that person that you thought is the one or think is the one, then what happens when you get in arguments? What happens when he gets on your nerves? What happens? All of a sudden now you start questioning what you thought. But when you know, there's been times where I was upset with my wife. I went to the store and I say, you know what? You want to be mad at me? I'm going to go look at ingredients at Food Line. I'm going to go to Harris Teeter and I'm going to enjoy myself in all these aisles. And then when I get back home, she'll be like, why? She'll hear me in the kitchen moving cans and doing things. And then the Holy Spirit would then draw me up the stairs. And you know how it is when you go up the stairs. You want to keep a frown on your face. You want to act like I ain't going to let you win this battle. I'm still mad at you. And about time I walk in my room, my wife can attest that when I walk in the room, that smile comes on my face. And I'm like, where this smile comes from? And because I know better, because I know that's my woman, right? So, but if you in a thinking phase and that thinking phase goes into the next levels of your life, then you're going to give up. So if you think that you have met the man of God for you, you got to even slow yourself down even more until you get to the knowing phase. Now, how do you know that that person's the one? To a degree, I'll give you some basic things. Number one, you know that you've met the one when that person is focused on them and God more than they focused on you, especially a man. When you meet a man should be in a rested state. Man, let's get to it biblically. God did not bring Eve to Adam until he put Adam at rest. If you met a man and he's restless, then that's not the man for you at all, or that's not the man for you now. That man should already be at a rested state in God, right? To the point that when my wife met me, no matter the challenge that we had a month and a half after our wedding, after our wedding, I was still resolved in the one I know who solves. A man must always be resolved in the one he knows who will solve. He has to be resolved in the one who solves so that he won't be pressed when there's pressure. So when you meet a man who's rested, his relationship with God has gotten to a level where he knows how to overcome devils, that he don't have to worry about being leveled by pressure. Right? He's rested. The second thing you know you met the man of God for you, since you're a woman, Brianna, is that he is rested because he already finished his assignment. What I mean by that is Adam was naming his animals. So she met Adam after he did something that made him able to provide. How do you know that? Because after Adam named the animals, it was through the naming of the animals that led him to name her. The reason why a lot of women are in dysfunctional marriage because a man hasn't named enough things to be able to name you right. If he doesn't doesn't have a strong grip on his words towards you, he's going to call you everything outside of a child of God. And if that man calls you names, if that man doesn't encourage you, but always discourage you with his words, then he hasn't been in his assignment enough to be able to lead you as his assistant. And also you got to ask yourself, you are a helpmate. If he doesn't have anything for you to help, then you ain't his mate. My wife helps me. My wife is an English major. She helps with my books. She is an equal help. So no matter what I produce, she's the mate that God gave me to help. Thirdly, if that man is all up under your tail and does everything you yelled, then that man ain't a man. He's a man from hell, possibly. Because what happened when Eve was talking to that? First off, if a man lets you talk to devils, if the man is not a discernment enough to know whether it's a devil or the divine, that man ain't the man. You see what I'm saying? So if he's going to let you talk to devils and entertain demonic thoughts and doesn't know how to nip that thing in the bud, doesn't know how to shift the demonic world off of his house, off of his premises, off of your mind, then that man, you ain't met the man of God for you. Because no man's going to let you entertain no devils. Because a man who lets women entertain devils will find himself out of his Eden. He guards his yard. Number one. What was number one? You know you met the one for you when that man is resolved in the one who solves, meaning he's rested. Number two, you know he's a man for you when you know that man has already finished his assignment. Number three, you will know that when I mean his assignment of his single years that prepares him to be a leader in his marital years. You know he's the right man when his words always encourage and never discourages. You know that man is the one, you met the one when that man don't let you talk to devils. Those are just quick signs that we got from Adam and Eve that should let you know whether you should cleave or leave, right? So don't worry about your last relationship. If you're still worrying about that, man, then maybe you're not fully healed from that. You got to get out of the thinking phase into the knowing phase, and you know where you are based upon your knower. And if you fellowship, if your anticipation is the relationship with that gentleman more than your anticipation with God, then you may not be mature enough to know if he's the one or not. So the first thing you need to do is look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I in love with God? Do I love God more than the idea of marriage? And if you love the idea of marriage more than God, then you might have met the wrong one. God is not going to allow you to meet your number two if he's not number one. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to engage more content, make sure you check out the videos over here. If you want to learn more about the books that I've written or the cards that I've created or ways that you can support and engage with what I do online, make sure you check out the links in the description box below. And if you've been watching this far, you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe, hit that bell, and make sure you leave a comment. I would love to read it and would love to engage and be your coach online. I'll see you on the next video. Peace.